What's up, you guys? Adam here with Anabolic Climbing. And if you're looking at the screen, your eyes don't deceive you. We're not talking about an anabolic today. We're not talking about a SARM. And not even talking about a mitochondrial support agent. Instead, we're going to go over Carderine with the help of Dr. Alex Tatum. So appreciate him for letting us borrow and react to his breakdown of Carderine. We're going to link that in the description below. I like the video. You should absolutely check it out and support him as well. But if you like this content, do not forget to like, subscribe, and comment on the bottom of this video as well. Really helps the algorithm tremendously. So now let's review Carderine and see if it makes sense for rock climbers.
Carderine, aka GW-501516.
Crazy name.
Research chemical your favorite influencer still thinks is a SARM. Spoiler alert, it's not, and no, this is not a sign to gamble. What if you could pop a pill and suddenly run farther, bike longer, and burn fat without caffeine jitters or shady doping needles? Sounds amazing, right? Meet Carderine. Developed in the early...
So, on paper, this is really everything a rock climber is looking for, right? No needles, no jitters, fat loss, massive cardio boosts. Immediately, this is ticking the box for every variation of rock climbing, with the exception of like one-move boulders. Makes sense for alpinism, makes sense for big walling, makes sense for sport and trad. Seems like on paper here, we have a winner. So let's learn a little bit more and see what else is under the hood.
90s by GlaxoSmithKline and Ligand Pharmaceuticals, Carderine isn't technically a SARM. It's actually a PPAR delta receptor agonist. Think of it as flipping your body's metabolic switch from gas guzzler to electric hybrid, dramatically boosting endurance and enhancing fat burning. In animal trials, mice given Carderine increased their running endurance by an astonishing 70%. Translation, rodents turned into furry ultramarathoners overnight. Human users anecdotally report noticeable endurance boosts and impressive fat loss, perfect for CrossFitters, endurance junkies, or cutting phases.
So yeah, on paper again, this definitely makes a lot of sense for rock climbers for what its intended effect is, but let's get into some of the drawbacks because they are noticeable, and I think it's impossible to consider running Carderine without having a sober look at what the potential downsides are.
But here's the big catch. In animal studies, rats were given Carderine at relatively sky-high doses, about 3 up to 40 milligrams per kilograms per day, which sounds significantly higher than typical human doses, and they were given this for almost 2 years straight. Unfortunately, they developed aggressive cancers, especially in the liver, stomach, bladder, and colon. This finding...
Yeah, this is all the easy types of cancers to cure, obviously. So let's also go a little bit more into it with some of the research done by Vigorous Steve that I'll also link below in his Carderine deep dive. It's awesome. I took a look at this in preparation for this video. You should check it out. So Carderine seems to have a U-shaped curve when it comes to its cancerous, cancer spreading. So at really low doses, seems to cause cancer. At really high doses, it seems to cause cancer. So it looks like, anecdotally, in a couple of humans, there is a sweet spot for low duration use. Steve basically ran it at 10 milligrams for up to 12 weeks. And by the way, this has been echoed in the medical literature as well, where they gave human subjects at 10 milligrams for up to 12 weeks that did not experience cancerous side effects. But, and I cannot emphasize this enough, and also Dr. Alex is going to talk about this as well, you can't get pharmaceutical grade Carderine. So ultimately what ends up happening is if you're underdosed, you're potentially in trouble. If you're overdosed, you're potentially in trouble. Unless you want to send your Carderine out for testing to make sure that you're dosing exactly 10 milligrams, it's a really big gamble. Even with limited exposure, it's a really high price to pay for potentially an amazing endurance boost. So on that, I kind of want to get into two other mechanisms that are worth discussing, and that's testing and detection. Just taking Carderine once, I believe it will show up in urine for at least 40 days, and considering most folks, or at least if I were considering dosing this, I would probably run it for at least 4 weeks. I would imagine that would extend out the detection time period dramatically. I don't know how much of that would, or how much of the endurance boost that you'd gain off of Carderine you'd be able to keep when you came off. I've never tried it. Although I do have a friend right now that's very eager to test it from a fat burning context, which personally I think is unhinged. If I were using Carderine, I would use it to peak for a project. I wouldn't use it for fat burning. That's where GLP-1s make all the sense in the world. So I'm going to check back and see how that impacts his climbing because, yeah, I'm obviously fascinated to get data on that. But, yeah, let's sort of circle back with Dr. Alex and put a bow on this, and then I'll hear some more thoughts.
It was alarming enough to make pharmaceutical companies abandon it completely. Now, time for a quick street dosing reality check. Most recreational users run Carderine between 10 to 20 milligrams per day, which sounds far lower than what caused tumors in rodents, but remember, Carderine is still untested in the long term for humans, and the actual calculated human equivalent dose for some of those studies is uncomfortably close to the 20 milligram a day dose some athletes commonly take. Now, official human clinical trials lasting up to 3 months showed no signs of cancer, but they were far too short to guarantee safety over prolonged use.
Also, the data set is really small. I don't remember the exact total of people that ran the Carderine, but yeah, just because a small trial didn't have cancerous impacts doesn't mean that you won't. And again, of all the types of cancer, when we look at liver, colon, and stomach cancer, these are super hard cancers to treat. So it's not something that I would inherently be inviting on my own. So ultimately, when I take a look at it from a breakdown of effects that I would love to have as a rock climber, it's super interesting, man. Yeah, flat out, I think it definitely like, I understand why folks would consider running this. For me personally, and I assume for a lot of you, the risk profile is simply too high. I'm going to link down to the Carderine deep dive from Vigorous Steve in the event that you guys are interested in checking that out. As always, thank you to Dr. Alex Tatum for giving us this awesome mini breakdown that we could react to and have a baseline discussion on. But I just wanted to share with you my thoughts because on paper, I think this is a really promising and incredible compound. But just given what we've seen, it's simply too risky for me. If you guys have used Carderine, though, please let me know your experience below. Let me know how it impacted blood work for you. I would love to know that. And yeah, as always, I'm Adam with Anabolic Climbing. Appreciate you guys as always. Good luck, happy sending, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.